How's it going, guys? It's Kass. As always, if you've been enjoying the Demon Hunter content, then feel free to subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Demon Hunter Covenants and some of the changes that they've made recently and my general thoughts on the whole thing. In this video, we aren't going to be talking about the Covenant specific abilities. We're going to be talking about only the Demon Hunter abilities with the Covenants, so just keep that in mind. We're going to start with the Hunt. This is one to change the most. And honestly, it's gotten to a place where I think is very competitive, and it's in a pretty good spot. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown, and basically what it does is you charge your target, striking them for 450% of attack power and nature damage, and you root them in place for 1.5 seconds, and then you inflict a dot of 75.9% attack power times 6. And that also applies to any enemies that you hit in your path while charging, or up to 5 enemies that you hit in your path while charging. So that's something to think about. A little bit of AoE, and then obviously the flat damage from here. Pretty decent values here, pretty decent damage overall, not too shabby. And then we have to talk about the bottom portion. This is going to be what makes this talent pretty strong in PvP. Basically, you're going to be getting the equivalent to the leech that you would have in Metamorphosis whenever you press this button. So the damage that you do to the target that you have hunted is going to heal you for 25% of the damage over 30 seconds. So that's basically going to be a nice little self heal. And make Demon Hunters a lot more tanky in PvP. So I feel this is actually a very good option for both PvE and PvP. Next, we have my favorite and what I'm going to be starting with. If you haven't seen my last video, I'd suggest watching that. It's the one about Demonic Appetite. There's a lot of very good synergy between this talent and Demonic Appetite. Honestly, if you're going to if you're even thinking about being or taking Elysian Decree, I would suggest always playing Demonic Appetite, because you're just losing out on 90 Fury every time you press this button if you're not. Basically what this does is it places a sigil on the ground. After 2 seconds it explodes for 350% attack power, and then it shatters 3 soul fragments. So that basically will give you the flat damage that you're getting, and that's to all enemies in that area. It's uncapped AoE, which is very good. Obviously, whenever you're able to hit all of the pack instead of just 5, it's going to be strong. And then you also get the 90 Fury, like I said, from the Lesser Soul Fragments. So this is a 1 minute cooldown, generate 90 Fury, and deal 350 attack power to everything in the area, which by itself sounds pretty good. You get a generator on top of flat damage, which is the perfect combination. But then we have to also think about what it means by summoning 3 soul fragments. So when we think about Shattered Souls, whenever you consume a Shattered Soul, it heals you for 20% of your maximum health. So 3 of those is going to be 60% of your maximum health. And that's if you're not even using the conduits. The conduits will get this like 5% extra. And so you're going to be doing 75% of your maximum health on a 1 minute cooldown. I feel like this is honestly something that Blizzard hasn't even thought of, and something that's going to be extremely strong in PvP. Obviously, there's going to be dampening, but in early PvP, the difference between life and death being a 60% heal is massive. This is basically almost better than a cocoon from a Mistweaver, and it's a button that you just press, and you can press once every minute. It's extraordinarily strong. It's very, very good for just the damage that it does and the generator that you get. Being able to just get free Fury in PvP is also great. And then on top of that, the healing is going to be bonkers. So this is honestly my choice because I enjoy playing Demonic Appetite, and then this is just the icing on top, basically. Then we have Sinful Brain. Now, Sinful Brain is going to be what the majority of the players that are just going to PvE are going to be running, that are doing the most DPS that they could do on Demon Hunter. It's just going to be the flat damage king. It's a 1 minute cooldown, and then when you reactivate it, or you can use Metamorph, and it'll hit all of the enemies that you hit with Metamorphosis, with Sinful Brain. So it's a 1 minute cooldown, but when Metamorphosis is up, it doesn't actually take away from that cooldown either. So you basically get 52 or 520% attack power for 8 seconds, and then you get an additional 8 seconds on everything that you hit with Metamorphosis after you use that ability as well. This is very good flat damage. It's very strong, but it is a trap for anyone that wants to actually play PvP at a decently high level. If you're in a bracket where people know where their dispel button is, Sinful Brain becomes completely useless. It's gonna be purged every single time. It's going to be dispelled every single time that it's put on any character in the arena. And that's kind of the thing that sucks about it, is it's very strong, but it's too strong. If it would be way too strong if it wasn't dispellable. So if you're looking to play PvE and PvP, I would not suggest going Sinful Brain. But if you're looking to just play PvE and you don't really care too much about PvP, you're just going to play it casually, maybe just get your cap, then it's still a perfectly fine option. And honestly, the last three that we've talked about are very good options. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. I think they all are very similar. Obviously, in PvP, we have the Hunt and Elysian Decree are just going to be better than Sinful Brain because it can be dispelled, and those two, I believe the Hunt cannot be dispelled, but I'm not 100% sure. But obviously Elysian Decree is instant healing, which is very strong. So realistically, if you're playing PvE, any of these three are great. They are very close to the damage that they provide and the utility that you gain from them. And honestly, I feel like Blizzard has actually done a very good job with balancing these three. And then we get to the black sheep of the group, which is Father to the Flame. For some reason, Blizzard decided to nerf this, and unless there was some shenanigans going on that I never saw, I don't think a single person has thought that this is actually a good talent to take. Like, if you don't know what this does, what it is you press this 2 minute cooldown. What you were attacking, you no longer attack. You attack a separate demon. You fight that demon to the death. When you kill it, it puts a puddle on the ground that's basically like the size of a Death and Decay. You get 10% increased attack speed, and you reduce the damage the enemy deals to you by 10%. So before, this was 20% attack speed, and for some reason Blizzard decided to cut that in half. And honestly, I don't even know what they mean by attack speed, because when I think attack speed, I think haste. I don't actually think of attack speed like in the way that you would think of attack speed in like an ARPG like Path of Exile or something like that. So I don't know if this is like 10% increased action speed, or if it's actually just like the equivalent of 10% haste. Because if that's the case, then there's literally no reason to take this talent ever. It's just not good. And when you think about what you have to do to get to this point, it just makes no sense. When you're DPSing a boss, the last thing that you want to do is to not be hitting that boss. Even if it's 3 or 4 globals that it takes to kill this demon, it's not good. Because you know how many times the tank moves the boss in these fights? There's very few fights that are stationary, let alone in situations where you can just stand in a puddle and there's not going to be things that force you to move from that area. So even if you get perfect uptime, what you get from this is not good. Like, yes, the thing that you kill is a demon, so you get 20% increased damage for 15 seconds, but this is a 30-second buff, so half of that time you don't even get that. I just feel like this is an idea that Blizzard had that they thought was really cool, and like the thought process behind it is kind of cool, but when I think about being a damage dealer, the last thing that I want to do is not be doing damage to the target that I'm actually trying to kill, instead having to switch to an ad that I'm the only one that can hit, just to give myself a buff. If this was, honestly, if this was everyone, I think this talent would be very good. It would be almost like a Wind Fury Totem-esque talent. And I honestly don't think it would be that busted. Like 10% increased attack speed, whatever that actually means, isn't that crazy. 10% reduced damage also isn't that crazy. And it would be an interesting mechanic that you can use potentially to reduce some of the damage if you're like stacking it on top of another damage reduction. I just feel like Blizzard missed the boat with this. I feel like they were trying to be like too cute with the idea of, oh, we got a duel to the death in the middle of the combat situation. I just feel like this isn't a good option. But the good news is like I said before, as long as you choose one of the other three, you're going to be very happy in Shadowlands. This doesn't mean that you should not play Necrolord. If you feel like you want to play Necrolord, then go ahead. I'm sure that Blizzard will continue to do tuning to make this better. They probably aren't just going to leave this behind. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is going to be really strong and I'm going to eat my words. But unfortunately, I can't test it. And the people that have been testing it haven't really said anything good about it. But anyway, I hope this video helped. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, F5, refresh, try it again, maybe like it the second time. Have a good one.